All right, good morning, eighth graders. We are going to jump right in, excuse me, to this week. So this week, our focus is going to be on equations with variables on both sides, equations with special cases, and interpreting a graph. So those are going to be 3 different videos. So we're going to go ahead and jump in. I'm going to try to make sure that these are 10 minutes in length. And that we kind of don't go over because I want you to really focus on understanding it without sitting there forever, okay? So let's go ahead and get started. The first thing you need to do, so if you go through the steps, so in our math journals, which these actually might still be at the school, but I will still upload the notes. The first thing you have to do when you have variables on both sides is you need to distribute. So you're going to distribute first, okay? So I'm gonna show you just real quick the notes that I'm gonna put up there. So the first thing you gotta do is you have to distribute, then you combine any of your like terms, you collect your variables on the same side, collect your constants on the same side, and solve the equation. So you should remember that because those specific steps were questions that were on a quiz that we did, one of the last quiz that we did prior to us leaving. That was one of the last ones that we did. So you should be able to kind of remember that because that one should be the closest. So, and you got to use your notes on that one. So I know you have them somewhere. So here's the first example. We're gonna look at number one. We have 8x minus 7 equals 4x plus 21. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to try to get all my variables on the same side. I'm going to go ahead and stick with my positive variable. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the lesser variable and I'm going to move that one because this one is already positive and this is bigger. So I'd rather keep with my positive variable. So I'm going to subtract 4x from both sides. Y'all know these zero out. So then I'm going to go from left to right. I'm going to say 8x minus 4x gives me 4x. And then I bring down everything I did not use. And y'all know you got to bring down everything you didn't use. I didn't use the 7 and I didn't use the 21. Whoops. Okay. So now I have a 2-step equation. So I'm going to look at this the exact same way I would look at a regular 2-step equation. So I'm going to add 7 to both sides. That zeroes out. I bring down my 4x. And then 21 plus 7 is going to give you 28. Like I said, I brought down what I didn't use. Drop my marker. And now I have a 1-step equation. So I'm going to divide both sides by 4. And x is going to equal 7. Okay? That is how you get to here. When you're dealing with variables on both sides, this is what you have to do. When you're dealing with variables on both sides, this is how you have to do it. You're going to take it step by step. So on the next one, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use different colors. And I'm going to slow down the process so you can see every single step. So we're going to start with negative 11x plus 9 equals negative 2x plus 45. Move that in just a little. Okay, so the first step, do I need to distribute? I do not because I do not have any parentheses. As you can see, there are no parentheses here, so I don't need to distribute anything. Do I need to combine any terms that are alike? Well, no, I do not. I do not have any terms that I need to combine that are alike. So then I move to collecting my variables. So what do I need to do so that I can collect my variables? I'm going to show you. Now, this number is bigger. This is a negative. The best thing for you to do is to look at if the number is bigger and the number is a negative, move that number. If the number is bigger and the number is negative, move that number. I'm going to show you why. I'm going to do my inverse. Oops, that's not what that says. Don't ask me why I got 12. I don't know. 11x. I'm going to add 11x to both sides. We know that this zeroes out, and I bring down what I didn't use. Negative 2x plus 11x is going to give you a 9x. Okay. Now, I know this looks a little backwards because we are used to having the equal sign on this side. It does not change the type of problem this is. This is still the exact same type of problem. All you are doing is the same steps we did for the other. It just looks different because the equal sign is here on the far left as opposed to the far right. It's okay. They mean the same thing. So the next step that you have to do is collect your constants. So I'm going to collect my constants. What's my constant? Well, in order to keep the equation balanced, please, and I say this with the utmost respect, stop taking from the side that does not have the variable on it. This side here has the variable. It's the variables on this side of my equal sign. I cannot take from that 9. I cannot take that 9. That 9 has to stay on that side. I'm going to say that again. That 9 has to stay on that side. You have to keep the equation balanced. Please keep the equation balanced. I am saying this slowly so that you get what I'm trying to say. Keep it balanced, okay? So I'm going to subtract 45 from both sides. I'm going to bring down what I didn't use. These cancel. I'm going to bring down my equal sign. And then we have 9 take away 45. So 9 take away 45. If you cannot do that in your head, then you go off to the side and you say, okay, I'm going to have 45 and I'm going to take off 9. So 15, because I had to borrow because that's not big enough. So that means I had a 15, and then I have 15 minus 9. 15 minus 9 is going to give me what? 6. And then I have my 3. I just bring it down. So now I know 36. Is it a positive 36 or a negative 36? This is where some of my lovelies forget. You forget something here. What did we forget? Our negative sign. Because the 45 has a greater absolute value than the 9. So because it has the greater absolute value, the sign that is with that number has to stay with that answer. Now I'm down to that one-step equation. So the final step is to divide both sides by 9. That cancels. Negative 36 divided by a positive 9 is a negative 4. Okay? We're going to do one more that includes all 5 of the steps that you're going to have to do. Well, let me see. Does it include all 5? It might not include all 5. I'm going to have to look and see. It might just include 4 of them. I can't remember if I found one that included all 5. but we're gonna solve for x. So we have 3 times 5 plus 2x equals 8 times 5 plus x. I don't know why I made that so far over. It's weird. All right, so when I see the parentheses, I know that I have to distribute. So I have to do 3 times 5, which is 15, and 3 times 2x, which is 6x, and then 8 times 5 over here, which is 40, and 8 times x. Remember I said anytime you have this plus your variable that has nothing in front of it, we pretend there's a 1. So we would say 8 times 1x is going to give me 8x. And then we follow through. We get all the variables on one side. Remember I said I tend to go with what's larger just because I don't want to have to change into a negative number from the, negative variable. It's just easier that way. You get it? You following? So what I did, after I came from here, I had my 8x and I took off my 6x. And I ended up with 15 equals 40 plus 2x. Then I have 40, take away 15. You're gonna get a negative 25. I'm sorry, negative 40, I'm sorry. So 15 minus 40 is a negative 25 equals a 2x. And then I'm going to divide both sides by 2. And x is going to equal, so the way you do this, you can come off to the side and you can do your calculation. 2 divided by 2 is going to be 1, because 1 times 2 is 2. That gets to 0, bring down my 5. How many times can 2 fit into 5? It can fit in there twice. So 2 times 2 is 4, leaving me with a remainder of 1. I can put a decimal point there. And when I put a decimal point here, I put a decimal point there. I bring down that 0 I just used. And now I have no remainder. So my answer, but is it a positive or a negative? Hopefully you said it's a negative, because in 7th grade, we learned that a negative divided by a positive is a negative. Different sign, negative. Different sign, negative, same sign, positive. Whether you're multiplying or dividing, okay? So hopefully you were able to follow along with what I was doing. Remember, this is review, this is nothing new. In the next video, we're gonna get into special cases, and that's when we talked about no solution, one solution, and infinite solutions. So I'll see you in the next video.